Catflap Chats, episode, what will this be now? Episode 79. So we're flying through them. Really excited today to have on, you're the third footballer, second female footballer I've had on actually, because I did have Jessica Fishlock on.
Yeah.
Do you know her? Yeah, plays for Wales, and she's with Olympic Reign, I think, out in America as well. So she's came on, amazing. It's fascinating to understand about the women's game. But Rylee Foster here, so I'm going to try and go through your accolades if I can. Liverpool FC goalkeeper, Canada under 17s, under 20s, but recently called up to the main squad for the She Believes Cup. Yeah. Played all over the world, traveled the world playing football, playing for your childhood. When I say childhood club, my understanding is your grandparents are from Liverpool. You obviously born and grew up in Canada, but Liverpool is your family's team. So you're living your dream at the moment.
Yeah, I can't really explain that. I mean, literally living the dream. I just don't think I've woken up yet. Like, I feel like I'm still like going through it. I'm like, oh wow, I'm actually in Liverpool.
It's been over a year now, though.
I know. No, but I think I'll give my excuse to the pandemic. I haven't really been able to do much. Like, just been here playing football, and I haven't really been around the fans. Like yesterday, being able to go to Anfield for my second time. I went to the Madrid game, the last game before everything was shut down. The game that like corrupted the whole city and gave everyone COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think now I'm starting to get in the swing of things and starting to feel that vibe, that atmosphere that everyone talks about, which is really exciting.
So I have to put it out here now. Like, my daughter is a Liverpool fan from her mum's side, which we're not together, and that's probably one of the reasons. I'm Man United growing up, but now I just appreciate football and like good players. And actually, I'm quite jealous that I've been to Old Trafford a few times, but I would always love to, and I probably will one day, go to Anfield and just listen to You'll Never Walk Alone. Because I want to experience, I love that song anyway, and I shouldn't say this as a Man United fan in inverted commas, but I would love to experience that one day with a Man United win as well.
It's just, I think regardless of who you are, what team you support, when you hear a whole stadium of like, 50,000 plus sing one song and the passion, like you look to your neighbor and they're like crying, singing it. Yeah, I remember when I was for the first time against Atletico, and I was just sitting there going, what is happening? But it's chilling. Even when I walk out of the tunnel and it plays at our games and we have no fans, I'm still like, it just brings me tears. It's like that song to me, I have it tatted on my arm. I have it everywhere. And yeah, it's just moving. As anyone, just to listen to it and then hear everyone say it at Anfield, chills.
Yeah, I would absolutely like. It's just one. I suppose it's one of those sporting things that like I feel like I need to experience. Like I'm living down in Cardiff, and if you ever get to come down here, like Wales rugby would be like Liverpool up in Liverpool. And when the anthem goes, it's the best stadium in the world, best anthem in the world. And I'm English, so like again, I shouldn't like it, but the English anthem's so bad, I hate it so much.
Very repetitive, isn't it?
Oh, it's just shit, isn't it? No passion. Like, anyway. Again, that feeling of like, I'm almost jealous I'm not Welsh at times when that's flying through the stadium. Everyone's going for it like it's something special.
For sure. I mean, I feel like it's weird being a player now. I think before when I heard it, I had like, it was moving, but being a player now and being a part of everything and the culture and knowing the history. And then again, my grandparents being from here, it's something different. I remember my dad, and I'm pretty sure my grandma gave it to him, but it was a framed You'll Never Walk Alone lyrics essentially. And I had it since I was probably like 10 years old. So I was practicing singing at Anfield from the age of 10. And yesterday, even though it was like maybe less than half capacity, 20,000 people, it was still moving. Like it was loud. It was so cool. I had my friend with me, and it was the first time he's ever been to a Premier League game. And he was just like, it's so cool.
Class. I'm jealous. Like, I love that. And I can see it in your face, like the emotion and the passion is there, like you're beaming. Like that's class.
I was so excited. The bus is like driving by, a team bus, and I'm sitting there, we're parked and we can't move. And my friend's like, what are you waiting for? I'm like, the bus is coming. I'm supposed to be in the same level as these guys, but the bus is coming.
Do you still like? I don't know the setup at Liverpool. Do you see the guys around? Do you train at the same place, or is it completely different? And
We we don't associate.
okay,
I want to say the pandemic kind of put a wedge in that completely.
yeah,
Just distancing and everything, but we don't train at the same grounds. We're not at the new AXA training center. We are at the Tranmere Rovers training center at Solar Campus.
okay,
There's plans in the future. Who knows what that is, but
yeah.
it seems hopeful.
Yeah, I think like there are some clubs that are bridging that gap quite well, but I suppose it takes money, resource, time, and we'll probably come on to this later about the women's game, like a bit chicken and egg, like business putting money into the game to grow it, therefore it gets more exposure, and then more TV want to get involved more, and then more money goes in. It's a tough circle, isn't it, to try and build?
I think it just comes down to the men's game. I'd say is a bit like on a cycle. Like, you know what's going to happen. For them not to want to, or even take the consideration of how much to invest into the women's game, like how simple it is to give us a change room and a pitch at the AXA training center is probably the easiest thing you can do. Put us in the later time schedules if we have to, but it's just easy. To me, it just seems so easy. I think I'm not in it, and I'm sure there's stuff going in the background. I can't take credit away from that. And I know our owners, and I know our directors are working hard, and I know they plot so much. So I can't take away that, but it is frustrating as a player to see the men get all this stuff, and then really, and we want to be in the top league. We want to be winning trophies and stuff, but then we're like, well, we'll train on the soggy pitch.
It's mad. Like I want to get into that in a bit. Just before that, for people who don't know, you're obviously a 4-5 CBD team player, so they're guys that I know quite well. Obviously, Dom. I just recorded with Dom last week actually, but it's going to be out after yours.
Okay.
So I've pushed him out the way to get you in instead.
Sorry, Dom.
Yeah, sorry about that, pal. I'll fucking don't worry about it. But yeah, so how's that going with the collab with those guys in 4-5 CBD?
They've been great, honestly. I think having a CBD brand in England, because I've used it in America before, and I'm a very, what's the right word? I'm a high-strung human. I'm always going. I'm always like getting to rest is very difficult for me, but also I'm very whole. I don't like to take additives. I don't take any of the over-the-counter drugs, like ibuprofen or anything like that, Sudafed, whatever you call it in England. I don't take it.
Yeah.
And that's just because I've never sat well with the idea of just suppressing pain, suppressing feeling. I think your body's supposed to go through that. But at the same time, as an athlete in my recovery, my sleep's essential, my muscles recovering properly, and getting that whole aspect to it is very hard. I turned to CBD, and I was very against it at first. I won't lie. Like, I was like, no, marijuana, so bad.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of research in college. That's what I did, because I was struggling a lot in college. Can you hear that?
What's that?
I'll close my window.
Is that like building works, is it?
Go back. They're doing construction on the docks, and it's a bit disruptive every morning.
That's all right.
Okay. But in college, I've struggled a lot with finding sources for a lot of ailments I had. And there was a brand in the US that I loved, and it was made by athletes, and I could trust it. And that was the biggest thing, trusting a brand. So when these guys approached me on Instagram, I was like, oh, yes, 100%. I'm in, because I looked into it, and the athletes that they have, like Dom and George, are great people. Like, they have great athletes, but also the research and the effort that they put behind the company and everything. And I was saying to my friend the other day, like, just the success we've had in the last year has been so big. And I love being a part of it, because you can see all the athletes we're bringing in, the team that we have, and the products that are coming off the shelves. Like, it's amazing. And actually, just yesterday, I received a package to hand out a bunch of stuff to the team. I took some myself, and I was like, it's probably the reason why I didn't wake up on time, because I was completely relaxed. I felt great. I was like, I'm good now. But yeah, I love it. I love being with them.
Yeah, I got some of my mates some, because one of their mums was struggling, and he said that she's tried everything, and they've been taking this, and it's transformed her. And so he's like, I've got on subscription now. And a few of my mates have said the same. Like, I take it just for my sleep. I'm an awful sleeper. But also, like, they're, like you said, they're just two good guys. They've been there and done it, you know, both internationals. George, obviously, you know, Lion as well. And they're both learning about business, but they're helping other people on the way. So, so fair play to them. Like, I love it. But again, enough about them. Today is all about you. We're all in. What's it been like for the last year then? You come over, am I right in saying January 2020 you came over? Just before the pandemic hits and COVID hits. And so you've moved to a new, I know you've traveled the world playing football, but you've moved to a new country. It's your dream team. You know, it's the one club, I would assume, apart from Canada, you want to play for. And then it all gets locked down and shut down, and you kind of, I don't know your circumstances, like whether you're on your own or whatever, but like, what's the last year been like?
I'll be quite honest with you. It's been hard, like really hard. I came over, I accepted a new type of role. I was a starter for 4 years in college. I was one of the best goalkeepers in college football for 4 years straight. And I came here and I accepted a third goalkeeper position. And that was foreign as it is. So mentally, I was like, wow, okay, how do I adjust this? So that was that adaptation. And then for the first 2 months, I accepted it. I moved myself in the second role, and I knew breaking the squad was probably not going to happen. And just because I knew I was coming in for 6 weeks or the rest 6 months, to kind of just learn the roles and everything, gain my footing with the team. And then I didn't get to gain my foot because we went into lockdown, and I was literally stuck in Liverpool. My sisters came over. We had it planned, coincidentally, for them to come over the week. So everything went on lockdown. I want to say like second week of March or something like that.
Yeah, second or third week, yeah.
Yeah. So my sisters came the week before when companies were like, do we shut? Do we not shut?
Yeah.
So some of us were like, we were still going out for dinner at some places, but some were doors closed. So it was very confusing seeing like the city was dead. Like,
yeah,
it was ghost town. I didn't know what happened. My sisters were like, what's happening? So I got that week with them. And then after that, it was 2.5 to 3 months completely on my own. And that was like, you couldn't go outside all the time, and like, we're all gonna die if we breathe the air. Like,
yeah.
And I'm a high risk person. I have a disease, so there was a lot of uncertainty with that. I ended up being fine. I won't get it. I mean, I could get it. Anyone can get it, but like, I won't die. But there's so much uncertainty. It was like, do you go outside? Do you go associate with people? I hadn't even known my teammates really yet. Like, I wasn't in the squad yet. So I spent 3.5 or 2.5 months here. I worked out every single day. Like, it became a problem. I was burning 2,000 calories by 12 o'clock in the morning.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I was fit when I came into season, but it was exhausting. I didn't know what to do with myself, and it was very frustrating because at the time we were being relegated and there wasn't any answers. It was, oh, we'll stay in, like, rather just stay in town until we know for sure. And it was like, oh, well, is the league gonna restart or not? Every other league has stopped. Why are we holding off? And eventually, like, I was seeing Canadians or other like internationals leaving the country, like right when it all happened. And I was like, well, why can't you just let me go? And of unfair treatment, I'd say. And it was poor, and the club has apologized for it because it was a bit not neglecting. I don't think anything was intentional. I just think it's hard when you have a squad full of nationals. Everyone's from England. They all went home, and you have one person who's not from England, and they're literally on their own. And the GM kind of took over and was coming for walks with me and stuff. We might have broke a few rules, but at the end of the day, my mental health was a lot more important than the rules of COVID. Sorry, the police, but it's the truth. But yeah, so I got to go home, I believe, right before my sister's birthday. And I spent literally 2.5 weeks, but I was waking up every day because we still had Zoom calls and everything. So I was waking up at 5 a.m. Canada time. Team workouts. So I'm doing core on my backyard porch in front of the pool, doing core workouts. I'm like, the sun's not up yet. And and then I got a phone call one day saying, Ryan, I need you to wake up. It's like 4:30 a.m. And that was the day we got relegated. Woke up at 4 a.m. I'm literally in bed like this on Zoom. My camera's on and everything. I was not caring. And we got relegated. And I said, okay, close my laptop, went back to bed, woke up. And I remember getting another call saying, you need to get on a plane in 3 days. We need you back here to isolate because preseason's starting. I was like, we just got relegated. So I literally packed my stuff up, came back to Liverpool, isolated for another 2 weeks, and picked up season and picked up a couple injuries in preseason. So it was a very hard preseason for me to that was my idea of getting in there, working hard. I'm going to get my spot. I'm going to get the #1 role because I've been working hard all season, like all summer. No one's been working as hard as me because, well, I gave myself no choice. I had to stay occupied, and I was doing the smallest of things every single day. And I just got that 1%. I think I got like 10% every day, better every single day. And then I got a little knee niggle, an elbow, and next thing you know, I'm back on the bench. And that was the season. But in the whole year, I had a lot of great things that happened too. I mean, I got my debut against Manchester United in the Connie Cup. Game, and I'd have to say it was one of my top performances of my career so far. And that's an honor and a privilege as it is just to be at home. Here you have walk alone for the first time I'm walking out the pitch. Also to play against United and beat them, like no brainer. So it's just, there's a lot of emotion there. I remember like after the game, I sat down, I just cried. It was like a whole, whatever it was, like 8 months prior to that, it just kind of came full circle. And I was like, wow, I made it. I survived this like roller coaster. And then, and the season kind of continued on and got a few national team call-ups. And that was another dream come true. I've been working for that since I was probably like 11 years old. So it's been crazy. It's been horrible, but at the same time, it's been so great. I can't complain.
It's a real roller coaster of emotion, isn't it? Like to move to a new country, be locked in on your own. And like you said about the club, it's not neglect, but probably just didn't know what to do. Like just hadn't been, no one's been through anything like this before. So just companies, and at the end of the day, it's a business. Some companies make great decisions, and I'm sure Liverpool have made tons of great decisions, but the one that really affected you was just up in the air for a bit. So it's tough to pull the trigger because I know people that have gone to see family because they were allowed to and then can't come back. And then they can't work and they're stuck where they are, and it's like, which one do you take the risk with?
It was so confusing because I knew I'd be fine. My visa here for me to play is completely different than most internationals because I have the opportunity to become a citizen here. So I'm on that kind of track. So coming in was so easy. And I was trying to explain, like, just send me home. I'll be back on the next flight. Just let me go. I guess 2.5 weeks is better than 1 day or no days at all. I can't complain. The way things turned out in the end, I think I became so much more resilient out of it. I had to do a lot of things and sit through a lot of thoughts. Like when you have that much time on your own and white walls, the brain can do. It's like, what am I thinking about? Like, why? So the resilience factor, I think, helped me get through the tough season that we just had. And then the end of it, after my United game, I was offered my contract right away. And that was kind of a promising moment, whereas the club was, they acknowledged their mistakes, but at the same time, they're bought into my future. So that helped me get through the rest of the season.
Well, so you mentioned about play football growing up and stuff. What's it like for a young girl in Canada growing up and wanting to play football? Obviously, football who influenced family. So am I right in saying your grandparents, obviously from Liverpool, but moved to Canada? And then your family were obviously Liverpool out there. So you started playing. Like, what was that like growing up out there? Because is it massive in Canada? I don't know. I see what goes on in America. I don't know too much about Canada.
I'd say after the 2012 Olympics, when Canada got podium, football took off for the women's side. I mean, it's always been there for the men's. We have Toronto FC in my area. We have a couple of Whitecaps, like Montreal Impact and stuff. Growing up when I was younger, most people tell the story of playing with boys, and that was their way to play, and that's the only way they could play. But I was so fortunate to have a club in my city where we had female teams. My dad was my coach. Every age group had a female team. I can't tell this. I wish I could. I don't wish, but like I can't tell the same story as everyone else. And I think that's why my journey's been kind of different. Because I was fortunate enough to kind of get into the era of women's football right away. Like the World Cups were happening on Canadian soil at that time in 2002. But I won't lie, there was a lack of opportunity and exposure at a young age. And I think my work ethic helped me kind of become more of a a star to be shown. Like I was able to show myself by how hard I worked, because unlike everyone else that I grew up playing with, they all live in Toronto, and Toronto was like the hub. All the coaches lived there. Everyone was kind of centralized there. All the top trainers, everything that you can imagine, good pitches. I live in a small town called Cambridge, Ontario, and there's about nothing there. The club, like everything's going now, but when I was there, it wasn't what it needed to be. I had to like uproot myself from the club that I grew up in until I was like 10 or 11, 12 maybe. My dad was my coach, and go to Toronto and play. My family, we lived in Cambridge. We drove an hour and a half every day to get to practice. Drove an hour and a half back. My sisters and I got picked up from school. They came on the road with my dad and I. My mom was working night shift sometimes, and she was a waitress at that time. And now, like, everyone's life went on hold just for my career, and that was the difference between most people. And males, they can get put into academies. They're good. Whereas we had to make the commitment of driving literally up and down the 401 every single day, and then plus I had extra goalkeeper training. So it was just the overall commitment my family put through. It was amazing. I still, to this day, I always speak about it, because that was one thing that, as a female, motivates you. Your family is what kind of holds you together. It's the glue and like your reason. And I truly mean it. Like my family was my reason to keep pushing through, because of all the consequences. Yeah.
And when you get to that certain age, obviously you're picking universities, and you went and played college, or you call it college football or college soccer out there. What was that like? Because again, I can't imagine here. I don't like you said, the players get put into academies. They don't end up going to university. If they're good enough, they're in an academy from 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, right the way through up until 18, 19, and they're released, or they just go to other clubs or whatever. Like, you kind of miss out on that university experience. Like, what was that like playing? Is college football massive out there as well? College soccer?
Yeah. So I went to America to play, just because the college game is so much bigger. It's scholarships to pay for your entire education, everything. Like, I didn't pay a cent.
Class. I love it.
So cool. Yeah. Like, you have to go get whatever education you want. Like, you can pick out of the book. Like, let's say you want to go into like genetic engineering, which is what I wanted to do. It's okay. We'll pay for that. It's like, all right, okay. Like, we'll do that. But I think I left home at a young age. I was 17 years old. Moved to the US, moved to West Virginia. I don't know if you know anything about America, but West Virginia the poorest state.
I've been to California for a couple of weeks, and I've been to Disneyland in Florida. That's about it.
Polar opposite of that, in the mountains, where they make.
I went to Vegas as well once, but we'll skip that one.
Where I lived, it's sad, because it's one of the poorest states, the lowest education rates, the lowest literacy rates, the lowest income, the highest obesity rate, like everything that you wouldn't want. And the one thing about it, and I think I'm so fortunate, maybe it's what made me bond with fans so much, is everyone in West Virginia supports university. Everyone is like, we don't have a pro team in that state, so it's all the school, every game, everything. Like, you're an idol to everyone. And I got to see so many little girls develop. We do summer camps every single year. I got to see these girls after year, and then just see them grow, and just to see how one summer camp, it just like changed their lives. And after the camp done, they're like hugging you. I used to have this one girl, bless her soul. Her last name was Foster, so we were cousins. I'm dead serious. We were cousins, and like her parents were cousins.
Yeah,
we were not cousins. We are not related. But hey, we were cousins, and she wanted to be a goalkeeper too. So I spent a lot of time with her. It was fun. But as a whole, college is like an academy in America. You go to school, you wake up every morning, you go to practice, or you go to your workouts, you go to classes all afternoon, then you go to practice for 2 to 3 hours, and then you're in study hall for 2 to 3 hours, and you repeat. Your food's given to you. You don't really have to worry about much. You're traveling every single weekend. So it's a bit of a balancing act. Like I learned a lot about like time management. And I think that's where my true sacrifices kind of came through. In high school and stuff, I sacrificed everything. I had no friends. I'll be completely honest with you. Like, I was alone. Yeah. My sister sat with me at the lunch table because I was such a loner. Like I'm 100% serious. They felt so bad for me. They spent time with me and brought their friends to my table.
Is that because you just like had tunnel vision of what you wanted to go and do?
Literally, and I couldn't resonate with anyone. Like I tried to have friends. Like I actually did. I tried to communicate with people, but I couldn't listen to people be like, oh, I don't even know what to say. Like, oh, I can't wait to go to the party this weekend, or like, I want to go to school and do like silly stuff. And I'm like, do you have any goals? And maybe I was a bit young. I was in high school thinking I'm going to have these goals. I'm going to be an Olympian and I'm going to Tokyo 2020. And I said that at 11 years old. So maybe I was a bit like ahead of the game, but that was the difference between me and everyone else. And I think that's what separated me. So coming to college, I had the same mindset, but now I'm put in a group full of girls who want to party.
Yeah, like, see boys and go traveling and all sorts.
So I'm like going from high school to girls who just might not even want to go to college or anything like that. And now I'm in university with girls who you would think want to go pro. Everyone wants to go pro, and not everyone wants to go pro. And I was like, what's wrong with this place? So I struggle a lot with that. Not only time management balance, but the social aspect of kind of being able to allow girls to just be themselves. And I'm so serious. Like, I know it doesn't seem like I kind of joke around a lot, but when it comes to football, I am so serious. Like, I had a 4.0 almost every semester. Like, I'm very intelligent. I spent my time in my sleep. Like, I was in bed at 9 p.m. and I'm waking up at 7 a.m. Like, there's a cycle there. So I kind of lost that ability to, and I was so high strung, but at the same time, it paid off. So college for me was the best route to get to where I am. It helped me in the pro environment, like be disciplined. I learned so much of the stuff I did in college, like recovery techniques, food, eating, everything that I don't get provided in England. So essentially it was the perfect pathway. I wouldn't change anything I've done. I wouldn't go back, but I wouldn't change it.
How are you with your teammates now then? Like, are you completely, because you're not socially awkward, it's just that you had such a vision, or are you socially awkward as well?
So everyone says I'm quite awkward. Everyone like so awkward or weird. I've been getting the weird one a lot, but
is that because they just don't understand you yet?
Yes, I think that's what it is. And I am such a misunderstood person. I have a heart of gold. Like I'm so loving, I'm so caring, but I'm very rigid and very like strict on who I let into my bubble. Like I'll socialize with people. I'll go out, like especially being in England, I've changed a lot in a way of enjoying myself and then getting to know. I knew I'm gonna live here. I might as well enjoy my experience.
Of course.
So I've had that time, but even when I'm out, I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm not gonna get a good sleep tonight. Like I've had a bit of alcohol. I know my sleep's gonna be back. I've done all the research on what alcohol does to the body, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and I get all anxious about it. So I do enjoy my time. I'm more of a person where like we don't have to go for drinks at night, but I'll go for dinner. I'll go for brunch. I'll go for any type of food, but just sleep at night. So in England it's a bit different. But yeah, I'm not socially awkward. I'm so tunnel vision. I'm so determined. I'm very misunderstood. I get it a lot. Like my agent helps me a lot with that, just because the way I say things, I'm very
straight arrow. Yeah.
And people don't like that, but the English culture is very much like that. So it's very confusing.
Yeah, I like it. Like, just fucking say it how it is. But like, also, like, I'm old, so I'm 35, mate. I've been through a few more years than you, and I'd say that like, when I speak to people now who might be at my stage of their careers in the pro sport, I didn't play. I was fucking rubbish at sport. Like, I was one of those that I'd go to have beers. Okay. So they'd all be classed as sport. I'd still play and do okay, but then I'd be having a beer after.
Everyone needs that person.
Well, yeah. The problem is that doesn't pay your bills, and at some point you got to grow up a bit. So I've been through that whole sort of down and up. But anyway, I'd say that like as I speak to players who are approaching maybe the end, you know, yes, they remember the trophies and they remember I don't know, like the wins or even sometimes the losses, but the things that put the smile on the face the most would be the times that they've spent with their teammates and those trips away and actually those team bonding sessions, because that's where you can really let your hair down and have fun. So I hope that as you settle in more and establish yourself as the first choice and get that Canada, first choice, well, like you really start to enjoy it as well, because if it's too serious for too long, it becomes a job.
Mhm.
And at the moment, you're living your dream, and you don't want that to ever turn into a job, if that makes sense.
No, I completely agree with you. And it's like, you're not the first person to even mention that. My mom, my dad, like when I tell them I know, like, oh my gosh, thank you. Good job. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, here's 30 pounds. Go enjoy yourself. Like, I'm like, what's wrong with these people? Like, I'm normal. But really, I think when I grew up, my biggest fear was if I stepped out of line, because I used to watch girls when I was coming through like the provincial program in Ontario, or even the national team when I was younger, and they'd be posting on social media, then going out like to raise and stuff. My perception of them was, you're not committed. What's wrong with you? Like, we have a game this weekend and you're out on the ale. Like, what's happening? So I struggled with that. So I struggle with, if I'm perceiving people that way, what are they perceiving me as? And image is a big thing in the women's game. Like, guys can get away with anything. Let's just be honest. Like, they can have domestic assault cases and they're still making millions.
But it's all fake, mate. Again, it's all fake on Instagram.
100%. But as a female, that ruins
you've got to be whiter than white.
Yeah. So I think also just me as a person, I'm an extroverted introvert. Like, I talk because I get uncomfortable. Like, when I'm uncomfortable, especially one of my friends notices a lot, like, I'll just talk. I'll create conversation because I'm like, I can't sit beside this person and not acknowledge their presence. I'm like, hey, how are you? Like, all right. Like, or I'll comment on their shoes or something like that. I just have a very hard time with just not being, my personality is very driven. And so if I don't show that characteristic of me, I'm like, I feel like I'm restrained. And by doing all the actions I do, working out, like, I should be off right now, really. But I mean, I have a camp coming up with the national team, hopefully. I'm preparing for that. I don't even know if I'm going to camp, but I'm preparing for it when I'm supposed to be taking 2 weeks off. And it's just, my mindset just will not allow me to switch off.
Yeah.
I will one day. I'll switch off. Hopefully I get to go home eventually before that camp. Maybe, I don't know. But it's just like that commitment that to always be ready has never been a problem for me. I'm always ready. I'm always ready to get on the next thing, or when I'm called upon, I'm there. And you never know when your next opportunity is. So I always don't switch off.
I completely get it. Like, always be ready for it, and be, if you're going to get given a chance, 100% do everything you can to try and take it. So I completely get that. But it's easy for me. I don't play pro sport. I've never had to commit to it.
Yeah.
And the things I do commit to in my life, like my, daughter, family, whatever, I can fit my lifestyle in around that and have that balance. So I just tell me to fuck off, basically. Like, who am I to?
Well, I think that's really important, is like perspectives. A lot of my players, my team, can balance the social and everything, and I think it's easy. When I first like was watching everyone do what they normally do, I was very judgmental. I was like, who do you think you are? Like, we need to prepare. Like, we got relegated. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, everyone has a different off switch. Everyone has a different release. My off switch and my relaxation happens to be reading educational books.
Yeah.
In history. So I'm like not the typical person that would just go out or I'll go for dinner. I love dinner. Like, whenever I'm having a bad day, my dad would be like, just go eat some food. Like, go get dinner for yourself or order something in. I'm like, oh, I think so. But that's my idea of it. So I've learned to understand. Like, I've learned to be understanding. I've learned to be not as judgmental as I've ever been. And that's helped me.
It's good.
Everyone else.
No, it's look. You've obviously got an old head on young shoulders. You know what you want. You're driven. It's not the. What are you, 22, 23? Like, it's not how a normal. I say normal. That's the wrong word. A 22-year-old that I would have grown up with through uni. It's not how they live their life. But then they don't want to be the best goalkeeper in the world. They don't want to play for Liverpool. So actually, they don't understand your situation.
Exactly. And I think being 11 years old at one time saying, I want to be playing in the pro game in England, I want to be at the Olympics in 2020. Like, I literally said Tokyo 2020 was my goal.
Yeah.
And I am a camp away from that goal. I mean, the odds of me getting there are slim, but I'm so close. Like, this last year has changed my life completely. And my mentality and my habits, my routines haven't changed my whole life. I've been so disciplined. I'm not about to not that I'm about to switch or change anything, but I think my role that I have now, only being the second string, only being a camp away instead of having a secure position, that to me is not good enough.
Yeah.
And until I achieve everything I need to achieve, then I'll be able to not relax, but enjoy myself a bit more. I think until I really retire, I'll be that kind of person. I'm a fun person. Don't get me wrong. Like, I will go and have food. I think I keep emphasizing food because I like food. But at the same time, when I'm with my family, that's when I switch off. And even still, I'm always talking about nutrition. I'm always talking about going for a run. I gotta get my sleep. I'm going to bed early. I'm not drinking. And they're always like, "Right, just relax."
Yeah.
So it's just a balance. I have to learn the balance. It's the reality of my life, but it's done me well so far. So
No, completely. Like, who is anyone to say that you're doing it wrong? Because you're not.
exactly.
Look at where you're sat now. You know, you're sat in one of the best cities in England. It's a shame that it's not open fully, because it is a great place. I've been up a few times, various stag trips and work conferences, shall we say. Like, I fucking love Liverpool. I think it's brilliant.
It's a great city.
Exactly. So you'll get to experience all that in the next few years as well. So that'd be amazing. We just chatting about the college game there back in America. What is it? We've people who like sport growing up would have seen things like, I don't know, Any Given Sunday or the Friday Night Lights, the series and stuff. You know, college football. Like, is it genuinely like that, where you're playing in the stadium and it's like, how many people are coming to watch you, and what's it like?
Our American football team has 60,000 people in the stadium. So that was the stadium. And then the tailgating, like the parties before, which usually lasts 2 days, well, 3 days, because it's like the night before, game day, which is a big one, and then after the game. Like, so at West Virginia, we had a parking lot. Our stadium was kind of right across from Ruby Memorial Hospital, which is like the university hospital. And I kid you not, this was I can't wrap my head around this day. They cleared the parking lot of the hospital of patients and doctors so that RVs and, like, what do you guys call them, caravans, could be parked.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of them, hundreds. Parked, and the tables, there's like the worst food you can imagine, pulled pork, everything, chips galore. And there's at that moment probably hundreds of thousands. And people don't even go to the stadium sometimes. They just sit in front of their RV, which has like a 70-inch TV, and they're watching the game, eating food.
What?
It's amazing. Yeah, it doesn't happen in Canada like that. So to me, that's
berserk. Yeah, that doesn't happen here. Like, but you don't even get that, like, I don't know, Old Trafford or Anfield or whatever. Like, you wouldn't get people just parked out but watching it on a screen outside the stadium. You either go or you don't.
Yeah, you either stay on your couch and you have your tea and watch the match, or you go to the match. Like, the idea of everyone rushing into the stadium and like the chants and the smoke bombs, or like, whatever you see, that happens. But imagine, like, majority of them being students. It's crazy. I've been to a couple football games. It's crazy. But even at the women's games, like our games, we packed a couple stadiums, and our stadium wasn't big. I mean, it was just one grandstand side. I think we got like 6,000, 8,000 a couple times, and that's a college team. We were number one in the nation at that time, but the fans came out every single game. Like, there wasn't really a game where the stands were empty unless the weather was poor. But even still,
so that's such a different atmosphere to grow up in that pro sport environment compared to over here. Even in football, I'd be surprised if Liverpool or Man United were getting 6,000 to 8,000. They might do, I don't know, but I'd be surprised if they were getting that for their men's under 23 games. Or
I don't know.
Like, I'm not sure, but like, to me, that's alien. Like, growing up in school, playing at university, I played for a good rugby university, and we'd have fucking 200 people. And if it was sunny, because we'd play on a Wednesday afternoon, if it was sunny on a Wednesday afternoon, loads of the uni would come and watch. But even then, maybe 1,000 people at best. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just completely different atmosphere.
What's crazy about like American colleges is that West Virginia's student population was only like, I think, 34,000. So you essentially have double the population in a tiny town. There's maybe 2 or 3 main roads to get into the university, and this is Like we would have game days on the same day as like American football game days. You can't get anywhere. You're walking because the traffic is bumper to bumper. And literally, it's insane how many people show up just for one team. And even when they lose, they still show up. Like we had a couple bad seasons and they're still showing up. At our games, people are tailgating in the parking lot as well. And I'm like, it's a college soccer game. Like, what's happening? But passion.
Yeah, I love it. I like the life I've had, and I've done some cool things. I've enjoyed it, and I wouldn't change it, but I would love to have experienced that and gone and done it. Like an alternate me, I think would have thrived in that environment socially, maybe not so much on the sport, but would have thrived in that social environment and that ethos around. Yeah, I would have enjoyed that. So I don't know. I might send my daughter there one day just so I get a chance to go out there. Like, I don't know.
I recommend if you want that, go to West Virginia, only because it's the only professional team in the area. So you're gonna get the best.
Oh, class! So there we are. Done. I'll tell my missus now we're moving. She'll be like, "What the fuck are you up to?" Coming over here then, like how different has it been for you? Like COVID aside, I know you spoke about that just now, but like in terms of now you are in with the team properly, training full time, and you know you are part of the squad. You've obviously made, you know, last year you had your the cup debut and the league debut. I know you got relegated during the championship, and it's not where Liverpool should be or want to be. I can imagine, you know, being back in that top league. Like how is it different? Like what's good about it? What could the English game bring over from America, where it seems to be a little bit more popular over there?
I think I wouldn't say the games are different. I had someone else ask me this question. The way I think of it is football in any country is different, but at the same time, it's the same game. The field's the same size, the ball's the same size. The main difference I've noticed is tactics. College game, you typically play one formation. I mean, it depends on your team. We played one formation the entire 4 years I was there, 4-3-3. We played out of the back because we had a goalkeeper who could play out of the back with.
Yeah.
But it's pretty direct. It's pretty aggressive. It's very physical. It's very goal oriented, like score goals, score goals, score goals. I mean, that is the objective of football, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's very attacking, not so much defending. Mind you, my West Virginia team, very different. We had a great coach who knew how to play the game of football and had some great teachings. So we were not the typical college team. England. For me coming over, the hardest thing wasn't necessarily to change anything, but it was to get used to a slower pace. Like I came from going 100 miles a minute. Like I woke up, went to the gym, went to class, went to training, went back to the gym, like on repeat, doing extra sessions, doing this, extra gym sessions, everything galore. And to come back here, it's like, okay, you're on the pitch for an hour and a half, maybe if you're lucky. And then you go to the gym, but you're only in there for 30 minutes. I was like, oh, how am I supposed to stay strong? And how am I supposed to stay fit? I'm not playing. I don't have to do top-up sessions because they don't want me to. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? I feel like I'm useless. You know what I mean? Like I went through a stage where I felt useless. And it comes along with not being in the role I'm used to and not starting, but also just that feeling of being fit and feeling like I'm being productive. And I need that in my life. Like that's why in lockdown, I worked out like crazy because I need to feel productive and feel like I'm still contributing and getting better somehow. So I went through a little lull phase of adjusting to that. Just in general, the training environment, it's not passive. I wouldn't say it's passive, but it's very relaxed. Like some players can get away with murder.
Yeah.
College, that never happened. Like I don't brag with myself, but I was one of the star players in the team. If I had a bad session or if I talked back to the coach, I was running around the pitch. Like, even if I let in a goal that I knew was unsavable, like it was top class goal, and my coach was like, why did you catch that? Like, and I was like, I was a top bins. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I didn't get away with anything. And it was that standard of like respect, hard work, and everything that was bred into the environment like college. Here, players are expected to bring that naturally. It's not pushed into you. Like you're not not everyone's held to the same standard, which is sad.
Yeah.
But it's politics and it's football. Players are different. So that's a little bit harder. The great thing about being in England is that everyone has, in a way, a professional mindset. Whereas in college, girls were either just going to get their education, they were going because they were good, or the select few, there's probably like a good handful in every year that wanted to go pro. So it was a balance of finding that was really hard for me to kind of adjust to. But overall, the way the game's played, I think I slid into Liverpool really well. The only thing I really had to increase was my distribution, just because the demand to play out of the back was so much more. And the English teams are so much more tactical and technical. So you can't get away with about a yard off pass. Like I had to really develop my passing, and not only like my long range is pretty good, but the medium to short ranges is like you have to be more crisp and more precise. So that was my biggest adjustment, but technical, everything else I was fine with.
And how are you enjoying the club now that you're back in with them and your team? Look at the smile on your face. You fucking love it. Like, is it, do you genuinely, like, is it class? Like, not the fact that you're just playing for Liverpool, but just day-to-day training and the team and your teammates and coaches and stuff. Like, you loving it?
I smile for both reasons.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you paid attention. I don't know if you know everything that's happened this year.
So I know you guys got relegated at the end of last year, and I know that this year we third or fourth, so you're not getting promoted. Yeah, not getting promoted. So I've seen that. Other than that,
yeah. So we started off the season with a manager who had us 2 years prior. I just don't think it was the right fit for the squad. I think if this was what I think. We got relegated. I think changes needed to be made right away. We didn't bring in the class we needed to bring in for player-wise to keep us from staying in the championship again. Christmas time came around. We lost to Durham right before the break. Durham, who we also tied our very first game of the season, we tied, and that was kind of like, oh, here we go. So undefeated all season with Liverpool FC, like no one's gonna beat us, and then we tie Durham, who is a part-time team and shouldn't have happened, but all respect to them, they're a great team and they made it work. We lost them again, and I say again because the tie's a loss. And we come back from the break and our manager's fired. She's just gone, and no one knows why. Like it was said mutual release, but no one really knows why. And that was kind of a turning point. Like it was a very tough season. I want to say I enjoyed myself because I learned so much. Like I think that's why I smiled, because there's so much learnings, so much experiences that players shouldn't have to go through that I've been through, let alone with COVID. Like my experience of being on my own and coming back in, then a couple injuries that like kind of sidelined me. But being in a team where literally adversity is spiraling, and like you can't get grasped. Like every time you have a good moment, something comes and knocks us down, and it just felt like everything was just going wrong. It was a great experience. And I think on the flip side of that, what I struggled with was the club as a whole not communicating well with us. So like our manager gets fired. Okay, what's next? Like we had no idea. It took them until 2 weeks ago to have a new manager in place. And yes, it was a great process. They went through every little process to make sure we get the right manager, who ended up being an old manager of the team, which is great because he has experience with winning trophies with Liverpool and everything. It was just a very odd time. Like it felt like we were kind of pushed aside. There was stuff that was coming out in the media and we're like, well, why don't we know this? And then also, so sorry, girls. Like, so it's kind of delayed. In regards to the team, I've become so close to most of the team. I think it's really hard as a goalkeeper when you're not contributing, like when you're not stepping up and making saves every weekend or getting shutouts every weekend. It's hard to feel that connection with everyone and that gain that respect. And that's something that I pride myself on, is gaining respect from my players. And like I said, as a goalkeeper, it's a very lonely world. So you have to be able to bond in some way. So I was able to get close with a lot of the girls, and I'm very fortunate for that way. And when I did step on the field, I made an impression. I gained their respect. And I think what's really remarkable about my season is I've had very slim opportunities, but I've also been acknowledged for my opportunities that I've gotten. Like my last game against Sheffield, saving a PK, literally getting knocked out in the last second of the game. but all my efforts have been noticed by the fans associations and stuff. So I think it's really cool to see that although adversity and like, literally shit's hit the fan. Let's just be honest, shit's hit the fan. As much as that's happened, all my hard work hasn't gone unnoticed. And I think as an individual in a team that plays a very individual role, that's so important just to feel valued and feel recognized and being put back and knocked back into a different role. That's important. And it kind of gives you the confidence to go into the next season and kind of keep going harder and pushing for more. So it's been good, but it's been very, very bad at sometimes too.
But I feel like you need that, because if you just keep winning all through life, then you don't really appreciate it or grow as much. Where I feel like the more losses you have, the more learnings you get, and the losses then start becoming smaller and then less of them because you learn from those and you end up winning bigger and better a bit later down the line, if that makes sense.
I completely agree.
I think like for you, like stepping into that squad role rather than first team starter and one of the better players later down the line will probably pay off. Like as long as you're a good squad player, you're a good teammate, you know, I would imagine you do because you're so driven. But you know, I'm not trying to patronize you or tell you what to do, but like for me it would be, am I doing enough to make sure that the number one at the moment can be the best they can be, because I want to be the best squad player I can be at the moment, but when my time comes I'm taking that shirt as well. So you're only pushing each other to new levels.
I used to come into the team, like when the season first started, obviously you're disappointed. Like when you realize that, okay, the season's going to go different. And especially with our previous manager, it was a bit harder to kind of even break the team because very political, we knew who the starting 11 was going to be every single weekend. And that's a problem. No one was getting held accountable for their actions or their mistakes. That's the difference between the women's and the men's game. I'm going to be completely honest. The men's game, you really mess up in a game, bye. You might get one chance. Women's game is a lot different. My pride was, if my goalkeeper in front of me doesn't do well, I'm not doing well and I'm not getting promoted. So at the end of the day, I had to make sure as a goalkeeper union, we worked hard. And that's when my mentality of hard work, I trained so hard and I brought that into the team. I think I brought that energy to the goalkeeping squad. And it's hard when you work so hard, you see things, but at the same time, it paid off. Like you say, in the long run, your learnings and your experiences, they're worth so much more. And I can 100% say that no matter what happens in my career, whether I'm the number one or number two, even with the national team, I think my experience at Liverpool has helped me with the national team, because you want to be number one so bad. Like you want to be that person, and that's what your goals are. No one wants to sit on the bench. Like if you do, you're absolutely crazy. Sorry, but you are. So when I stepped into the national team and I knew my role and I accepted my role, training became a lot easier. I could train so well, and I wasn't worried about this like weight on my shoulders of having to like push it. I just had to know, like, if you do well, things will come. If they don't come, they'll come eventually. And that's been my mindset change. At first it was like, I'm mad at the world, I don't understand. And differences aside, like technical abilities versus like every goalkeeper is different, and there's some games where I think I could have done better than the other, and that's okay. You're allowed to think that, but it was how I adjusted every week, how I showed up every Tuesday and said, okay, well, how am I going to fix it? What am I going to do?
That just comes from experience, though. Like I said, you know, you're still young in your career, so whilst you've got a mature mindset and outlook, you are still young in your career. So there's people there with 8-10 years more experience than you, and your time will come, and in 8-10 years time there'll be someone like you going, fuck me, why aren't I playing? Well, it's because there's a bank of 10 years experience that you've built up over time, which when you quite don't, you know, you might have that 6 out of 10 game instead of that 8 out of 10 game, you're still in the next week because you got credit in the bank. So that will come for you as well. I've got no doubt about that.
100%. And I think that was my biggest learning, is that if we're going to compare the English and the college game, experience. It trumps all, like, and that's the sad thing, but it does trump all. And I respect it, because at the end of the day, it has paid off. Like there's some things actions that I've been doing in games, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't do that, but it works. And that's because she's seen different things than I have. She's been able to handle different situations than I have. And that's just reality. And I think that's the great part about the game, is that every game's a learning experience. Every week in, week out, something new. And that's what I loved about it. That's what I loved about this season, because there's been so much adversity and so much challenge. And I love challenge. I live off of challenge. It's been that kind of like, okay, well, what's next? Like, come on, push me more. Like, let's push the team more. I think that's what's going to help us in the next season.
Class. You mentioned Canada just now as well. You've obviously played, what I'm saying, like under 17s and the under 20s, but this year you were called up to the She Believes Cup squad. You didn't make your debut, but what was that experience like playing against? Was it I want to say America, Brazil, and Argentina? So you got,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you got a couple of the. I've done a little bit of research. You got a couple of the best teams in the world there, especially in like in America and Brazil. Like, what was that like? That experience? Because again, stepping up into that adult environment can be daunting for some people. And again, when you're not first choice and you're on the bench, and I suppose in your mind, you kind of know that I might not get capped here. How was that whole experience for you?
I walked into that camp thinking, I knew I was going to camp early. My coach went to one of my games that I played in. Pulled me aside and just said, like, look, we're looking at bringing you into camp. Nothing's for sure, but just stay ready and hopefully see you there. And I thought, okay, like, we've had a couple conversations prior. She was in England, and she was my youth national team coach at the time too. So I was her captain. We have a good relationship. And coming into the environment, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just go for the experience. I knew my odds of what was happening in that camp. They brought 4 keepers in. 3 of them were going to be on the roster. One of them's going to be a practice player. It's a 20-day camp. It was a long one. And the club let me go early, fortunately, because they knew how much it meant to me. Like, I really prided myself on everything. And they said, you know what, go ahead. You can miss 2 games. We know how much this means to you. And I thought, I'll go in for the experience. I'm going to learn so much. I'm going to be with the best of the best, like Aaron McLeod, Steph LeBay, players that I've idolized, Kaylin Sheridan, someone who I've competed against in college for a year, also just kept on trying to push and get her spot. So I went in with the wrong mindset, if I'm going to be completely honest. And I owned this up with my goalkeeper coach there after, when we reflected on campus. I went in just wanting to learn. I wanted to make an impression, but I wanted to learn. I knew I wasn't going to get the spot. And I kind of determined that role way too early. So what ended up happening is day 3 of camp, Aaron McLeod goes down with an injury, gets sent home, dislocates her finger completely and everything. First game against the USA, Kaylin Sheridan, who started the match, should have been our number 1, tears her quad off the bone in the first 10 minutes. I'm now one of 2 keepers. And my mindset was, I'm just here for the experience. This is fun. So my mindset, literally in a matter of, the camp, I trained hard, like, you can't take that away. But when it came down to like goals and everything, I had to switch my mindset completely to, like, shit, you get called on and someone goes down. And that's ended up happening. Like, I didn't get called on, but one of our goalkeepers went down hurt. Well, the goalkeeper, the only other one, went hurt in a game. And it might have been tactical, but it was a long process. And I'm on the sidelines getting warmed up. And like, they're putting me through, like, usually the coaching staff knows if it's a tactical, but it wasn't. It was like a go warm up now. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to. And I had my mate in the stand, and I'm like, this might actually happen. Like, my family's at home, like, they're all recording me warming up because the camera's on me, and I'm like, So like the mindset switch, and I won't lie, I learned so much in that camp. Like, I came from Liverpool, and you think the professional environment's the best of the best, right? It's what you assume. Unfortunately, that's not reality. Coming to a national team environment, you have the best of the best all in one spot, and I'm talking faster ball movement, faster shots, harder shots. Like, I couldn't blink, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything. The first day I was gassed on top of the floor. I was gassed. I could not even function. And that was like, I came out of that practice, my first session, and I got on the phone with my parents, and I was like, I need more training in Liverpool. Like, I need more. I need to be somewhere else. Like, I was panicking because I was like, I'm not going to be good enough if I don't move. Or I wanted to, it's sad. It's like, I wanted to move squads just so I can be in the better environment. I was like, I need to go to Arsenal, I need to go to Chelsea, I need to be Tottenham. Like, I need to be with the best of the best. But reality was, I just needed to fix my own brain. Like, I needed to come into my environment afterwards and think faster, just anticipate things quicker. I can still get the same of what I need. And then I just had to outsource some training. So I just hired another goalkeeper coach I would do on my off days, and everything was great. I stepped into the England camp when we went to the national team to England, played England and Wales. Completely different camp, completely different goalkeeper I was probably the best form I've ever been in, ever.
Yeah.
I was top shape, and my goalkeeper coach, he was with me in my youth career as well. So he was like, I've never seen you this way, and this is where we want you to be, and we know you can be even better than that. So
Yeah.
the learnings I took from Florida really impacted what happened the next camp, and it really impacted my mindset. I stepped in and said, I'm knocking the door down. I put it all over my window, or my mirror, my bathroom. I had all these little things that I wanted to keep repeating to myself. And that little switch, literally of a mindset thing, changed everything for me. I became 10 times better. I stepped in for Liverpool, got like 3 games, shutouts, and like winning games. And that to me I think it's just crazy how 20 days, an experience of 20 days changed my life, literally.
These things, I feel like you just go through things, and people can tell you all they want, but you have to experience them yourself. And there's a saying about, like, you'll never remember what people say, but you'll remember how they make you feel. Mm-hmm. And you've got into that camp, it's made you feel a certain way, and therefore you can take that and go and process it to the way to make yourself then go and be better.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't surprise me, because Liverpool is obviously at, like, college football, then Liverpool. Well, obviously there's another step up, and that's the Canadian team. But then there's another step up again, probably, and that's when you reach World Cup camps and then World Cup tournaments. Yep. And you're aiming to win things and stuff. So there's probably 2 or 3 levels again.
Yeah.
And you'll take them in your stride, because you know now that you can push yourself, and you can sort out. Liverpool get promoted again. That will be a step up in intensity, in the opposition that you play. That will only make you better as well. So you'll just get these different levels, take them in your stride as you go along.
Yeah.
So you'll be grand, mate. You'll be absolutely fine. Like, what is the future then for you? What are you striving for? What do you think? What do you want to happen? What are you manifesting?
If I had everything my way,
that would be nice.
Yeah. If everything just went to plan, my plan would be, I want to be a Liverpool legend. There's no female legend in the club yet, and that means staying with the club from day 1 to day 0, or day whatever whatever day I end.
Yeah.
5, hopefully 36. Who knows? Old.
I'm 35, pal. Cheers for that.
No problem. I'm joking. But my goal is I want to be a Liverpool legend, and to do that, I gotta help the team get trophies. I think I say this so much. I want to play in the Champions League. That day, I've dreamed of hearing, the old Champions League anthem, but the new one that this game.
Yeah.
I dreamed of that, and I want to win. I want to win. Like, I am a winner. So when it comes to the club, I think we need to be in the WSL. We need to be top 4, top 3, winning this league. And I want to be in Champions League so bad. So I don't want to ever leave Liverpool. I'm happy here. I have family here. I'm not someone who likes to uproot myself and move. I love to be. I've never been in one spot for longer than a period of time. So I want to establish myself. I want to establish my life. And I say that like I'm 22. Like, who says that? But I just I'm just thinking, like, what the heck am I saying? But I see a lot of athletes, they move every year. And that to me is just, I want to be comfortable. I want to be, like, when I'm most comfortable is when I'm striving in an environment that I'm familiar with. And it sounds bad. Like, I can adapt. If I have to move, I move. But I want to be able to be with this fan base. This city is so special to me. I don't want to ever have to leave that. So definitely be a legend of the club. Be one of the first female if I can be, because that would be amazing. Also, regarding the national team, I think right now I have my opportunities with the 2020 World Cup, or the Olympics, sorry. Whether that happens or not, great. But in the future, I'm on the bridge of breaking the barrier, on the bridge of making myself a frequent face in camping environments and stuff. And I think the 2023 World Cup is probably an ideal situation for me to push for. Maybe push for the shirt, push for the second shirt. World Cups are different. I think they bring 3, so that's a big opportunity for me. But yeah, I think, like I said before, I've been dreaming of moments. I've knocked down almost every single goal I've had, except for being a consistent starter for my pro environment, and also for Canada. And then I want to be the best in the world. Like, I want to be the FIFA best. Like, I've dreamed of that. I see some of my own teammates on that, like Kisha Buchanan and Ashley Lawrence, and I know I'm that caliber. Like you said, I'm young. I see a great future. I just have these visions of me being able to do such great things, and I want to make an impact in the game, whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch. I think I've experienced so much, and everyone has, but I love to use my platform to share that. I have a blog, and I share literally the journeys that I've been through. And I want to be able to translate that to the players who are coming up in the next generations, just to say, like, what you're going through is completely normal. It may feel absolutely insane if you're not going to make it through, but you will make it through. And I wish I had that person. Like, I had my family pushing me, but no one else, like a mentor or anything like that. So mentor the youth and keep pushing to be the best. I just want to be the best version of myself and the best in the world.
It's ballsy to be that brash and go, I want to be the best. I want to be the FIFA goalkeeper team of the year. I want to do all this and that. But I fucking like it. Like, fair play to you. It takes balls to fucking put yourself on the chopping block like that and say, right, this is what I want to achieve in the next 15 years.
Yeah,
so
I think that's the problem with a lot of females, though. If you think about it, no one wants to own that. Like, I think it all the time. Like I said, there's a picture I posted on my blog page, and it's literally my mirror, and it says everything that I remind myself of. And I think if you don't speak it out loud, you're not committing to it. Like I always say, write it down or speak it out into existence, because if you don't, it's not going to happen. It's just a thought at that point. So, it is ballsy. It's a bit, I'm not an arrogant person, but I know what I want. Yeah, exactly. I know what I want. I'm committing to what I want, and I'm confident in my abilities. I know I could be great, and I know how much I improved. Like I said, I improved so much from one camp with the national team. If I had that every single day and that experiences every single day, like, imagine how great I could be. I have the mindset. I know that. It's just
I think we miss that mindset here sometimes. And in England and in the UK, it is seen as arrogance, but in America and obviously Canada, like, it's the only way to be. And I think you see that when we watch things like The Last Dance with Michael Jordan and stuff, like berating his teammates because all he wants to do is fucking win and be the best. Exactly. I love it, but it's a fine line over here, because it's seen probably, I would say, like a misunderstanding or even almost like a jealousy maybe, but people go, oh, you're arrogant, you're cocky. Oh, fuck off. Like, go and live your shit life. Like, if you're not happy, don't put your unhappiness on me.
And I think that's where my commitment and what I do off the pitch is, that's why it's so different. It's because literally, if you look at Michael Jordan, like, what did he do? He went home and slept. He went to the court and did extras. Like, all my teammates right now are planning our holiday and everything like that. I could have gone home right after the season ended. I really could have. My mate came and visited me here, but I could go home. But I decided, no, my goalkeeper training's here. I need the gym here. Canada's in lockdown. I'm not going to get better back home. I'm going to sit in the couch.
Yeah. And you can go home later this year. You can go home in 2 years' time. Like, Canada's always going to be there.
Yeah, it's not going to fall.
Liverpool might not be after the next contract if you don't buckle in, you know.
And you never know. Like, I'm just I guess I always think of the next opportunity, but I can't. If I want to be where I want to be, I can't just sit in the back wheel and just chill out. You need to do something about it. And I'm not saying I'm training literally every single day. I'm working out every day. Yeah. But I'm committing to something, and it's the difference. I know I went for dinner with my teammates the other day, and she goes, well, what have you been doing? Like, I've been at home for 2 weeks. What have you been doing? I'm like, I've been working out every single day. I've had 2 off days since. I mean, I came back from a massive concussion, so that to me was also a pretty moment. Like, I had my rest. And she's like, oh, wow, really? The next day I show up at the gym, and the guy's like, oh, one of your teammates was here, like the shorter one. And I was like, oh, yeah, really? Okay. And I realized me just talking to her, like, sparked a fire in her, and now she's there. Yeah. So if I could do that to all my teammates,
you'll win.
Right?
Hey, no, fair play to you. I love it. Like, I love seeing the confidence, and it's obviously the majority of people I know in professional sport are males. It's fascinating to get a female's point of view across, but actually someone from over the water to come over here with that mindset, it's just fascinating to see. So I'm excited we'll keep in touch. I'm excited to see, where you're going to go and what you're going to do. obviously just want to say a massive thanks to 45 CBD for hooking us up. So cheers for Dom for getting the conversation in, and we'll see how you get on. Just a big thanks also to the Tiny Rebel Brewery. They do give us a couple of beers every episode, but it's 10:15, so I'm not going to have a drink, because that is when I have a problem, and I don't have a problem. I'm doing this thing at the moment. People are probably bored of it, but I'm cycling 1,000 miles in May for charity. It's 52 kilometers in America, aren't you? Yeah, 52 kilometers a day. Yeah, it's on average. So I did 30 kilometers just before this, and now I've got to do 40 tonight.
Just waking up.
Well, no, I wish I was just waking up, mate. So I'm jealous. I'm fucking jealous. So yeah, big thanks to everyone that's donated for that. You know, huge thanks. Head over to catflapchats.com, where you'll find all of our back catalogue, our merch, and our sponsors, and at Catflap Chats on Instagram and Twitter, where you can see how badly I'm doing at cycling and just catch up with a few other bits and pieces as well. Rylee, thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I loved it. We'll keep in touch. I look forward to seeing Liverpool back in the big time, get you in the Champions League, Canada debut next. I feel like the next sort of 12, 18 months, you know, leading into that 2023 World Cup, Tokyo, like if that all goes to plan as well, like you could have a mental couple of years coming up. So
thank you.
Fingers crossed for you, mate.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. It was a great chat. I enjoyed it. I'm excited.
No worries. I'll give you a tenner now after for saying all those nice things.
Oh, perfect.
Hey, you take care, all right? I'll speak to you soon.
See you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Take care. Bye.